Kysre Gondrezick, a longtime WNBA star, has announced on Monday that she will be posing for the iconic Playboy magazine.
You're watching Her Hoops, where we uncover the stories the WNBA doesn't want you to talk about. And today, this one's wild because Kysre Gondrezick, a former Indiana Fever first-round pick, yes, the same team Caitlin Clark now leads, has just done something that sent shockwaves through the basketball world. She's officially been named Playboy's Playmate of the Month for June 2025. That's right, a professional women's basketball player, once drafted 6th overall, now posing for one of the most iconic and controversial brands on earth.
On Monday afternoon, the legendary adult magazine announced that a prominent WNBA star has been named Playmate of the Month for June. It's an impressive honor for the WNBA guard. There she is. Playmate of the Year. I'm pretty sure my schnauzer just gagged. I kid you not. That's hilarious. Oh, that's funny. Playboy announced that Kysre Gondrezick.
Social media exploded the moment the announcement dropped. Some fans are calling it empowering. Others, straight up embarrassing for the league. But here's the kicker. This isn't just about one player striking a pose. This is about what the WNBA represents. It's about image, identity, and the double standards that still surround women in sports. Because while Kysre calls it an evolution, saying she's embracing every side of who she is, critics are saying she's chasing clout after failing to make an impact on the court. And that's where the debate really heats up. Can you be both an athlete and a sex symbol in a league that's constantly fighting to be taken seriously?
A 28-year-old guard who last played for the Chicago Sky of the Women's National Basketball Association has received the honor from the magazine. Here we are right here. There she is. There she is. Butt naked on a floaty, I guess. I would assume. There's Playboy putting it up. Playboy's got 9.2 million followers. What do they say? Gooners?
Or has Kysre just taken a huge risk with her reputation and maybe with her entire basketball career? We're breaking down everything from her WNBA journey to the backlash online and why this moment could redefine how players brand themselves in 2025. This is Her Hoops. Let's talk about how a bold photo shoot might have just changed the entire conversation around women's basketball, for better or worse. Before this whole Playboy shockwave took over the WNBA timeline, Kysre Gondrezick's story was already one that raised eyebrows.
So there she is right there on a floaty. Let's see. Kysre, whatever, is the first current female professional basketball player to also take on the Playmate title. Formerly a WNBA player, now works as a free agent. The two roles, she says, are not in contrast to each other. What people label as a transition is embodied as evolution.
Let's rewind for a second. Back to 2021. Kysre was supposed to be the next big thing for the Indiana Fever. A first-round draft pick out of West Virginia. A gifted scorer, flashy handles, confident energy, the whole package. The Fever hyped her up like she was going to help change their losing culture. But that fairy tale never really happened. Her rookie season, just 19 games. Barely 2 points per game. Then gone. Out of the league almost as fast as she entered it. She bounced around. Short stints, free agency, a handful of games with the Chicago Sky. 5 games last season. 5. And just when everyone thought she was fading into the background, she came back with something no one saw coming. A Playboy cover shoot.
About the idea that these WNBA players maybe should embrace their femininity a little bit more, I was not exactly talking about doing this. I said, look, if you want to tastefully, if you want a Victoria's Secret, okay. I mean, I can't get mad about that. Not going to. All right? Not going to be a hypocrite about Sophie Cunningham doing some very tastefully done Chevy truck modeling.
On Monday morning, Playboy announced its 2025 Playmates lineup, and there she was, Kysre Gondrezick, former WNBA guard, officially crowned Playmate of the Month for June. It was more than just a photo shoot. It was a statement. In her own words, she said, "What people call a transition, I call evolution. I'm not stepping outside of who I am. I'm building a multi-dimensional brand." That quote, it lit a fire online.
I'm not stepping outside of who I am. I'm building a multi-dimensional brand. That means getting butt naked. It's taken intentional work to get to this level. Oh, God. I couldn't do it. I couldn't make it all the way through that with a straight face. Quote, becoming a WNBA player and getting to that level, you put in a lot of work to get there, she says. You have to put in even more work to stay there. All right, so
some fans applauded her confidence, saying it's time women athletes owned their image without fear. Others accused her of using her body for attention after her WNBA career didn't pan out. Even bigger names, like ex-WNBA players, sports journalists, and influencers, started chiming in. Some said it was empowering. Others said it was a distraction from what women's sports have been fighting for: respect and visibility on the court. And through it all, Kysre's standing tall, unbothered. She's not apologizing. She's not explaining. In her eyes, this isn't about controversy, it's about control. But here's where it gets deeper and more complicated, because what she's done doesn't just affect her, it touches on the entire image the WNBA has been building for years. Let's break this down step by step, because what Kysre Gondrezick just did isn't just about one photo shoot. It's a collision of sports, image, and identity that the WNBA has been struggling with for years. First off, Kysre didn't just pose for a brand, she posed for Playboy, a name that's been synonymous with both glamour and controversy for decades. For some people, that logo still screams objectification, but for others, especially in 2025, it represents choice, ownership, and a kind of bold femininity that refuses to be boxed in. So when Kysre decided to take this leap, it was bigger than a headline. She essentially declared, "You can't tell me what a female athlete should look like." Now here's where the tension really starts. The WNBA has spent years trying to build an image of professionalism, pushing for fair pay, respect, and equal coverage. They've tried to distance themselves from stereotypes, the kind that focus on looks instead of skill. And now, a former top draft pick is becoming Playmate of the Month.
Yeah, she went way downtown. And by the way, 5 days ago, she announced.
Girl Kysre, and I'm taking a shout out to say what's up with guys.
Hey, Kysre, how you feeling? How's 2025? How are the workouts going?
2025, I have been blessed. Everything that I've been writing down has been scratching off the list, and I'm just so grateful for guys.
Congratulations on the Essence cover.
Thank you.
Just what are some of the things that you're looking to kind of, continue to build the brand?
Yes, just continue to follow God's steps right now.
That's where the divide comes in. Supporters argue that Kysre's choice is empowering, that she's redefining what it means to be a woman in sports. But critics, including some within the league, see it as a setback. They say it hands ammunition to those who already underestimate women's basketball, those who claim fans only tune in for appearance, not athleticism. And the irony? Kysre isn't the first to face this kind of scrutiny. Remember Liz Cambage and her OnlyFans controversy? Or Angel Reese doing Victoria's Secret shoots, then saying, "Don't sexualize me." The debate keeps circling back to the same question. Can women athletes control their own image without being judged for it? For Kysre, this move seems calculated. She's not just modeling, she's marketing herself. She's creating a brand that stretches beyond basketball, something the WNBA hasn't fully figured out how to handle yet. But what happens when your personal brand clashes with the league's image? That's where things start to explode, and the fallout may already be starting. This is where the story turns from shocking to divisive, because the moment Playboy dropped those photos, Kysre Gondrezick on a pool float, posing with that signature confidence, social media went nuclear. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, everyone had an opinion, and none of them were quiet. On one side, you had fans, mostly younger women, saying, "This is empowerment, this is freedom. She's showing that athletes can be beautiful, bold, and spiritual all at once." They pointed to Kysre's interviews, where she spoke about God's plan, self-expression, and trusting her journey. But then came the other side. side. The wave of backlash that no WNBA player ever really escapes. People saying she gave up on basketball for attention, that she's feeding the wrong image, that this is why no one takes women's sports seriously. Even some WNBA circles started whispering, quietly but noticeably. Executives and coaches wondering how this would look for a league that's already fighting for legitimacy in a male-dominated sports world. The irony? The same league that celebrates individuality suddenly seems uncomfortable when that individuality doesn't fit the brand. Remember, this is a league that promotes bring your whole self. But what happens when that whole self includes sensuality, confidence, and a camera lens? That's where the hypocrisy starts to show. Kysre's defenders say it's no different than NBA players signing with lifestyle brands or rappers flaunting luxury. It's image-making. Her critics, though, see it as crossing a line, one that blurs the boundary between athletic achievement and celebrity culture. And it's not just about fans versus critics anymore.
Continue to build the brand.
Yes, just continue to follow God's steps right now. I feel like He's carving me out for longevity and to learn about the other gifts that I'm being able to tap into because of basketball. And I'm enjoying it. This is my journey. Why not?
It's now about what kind of women's league the WNBA wants to be. Does it support full self-expression or only when it fits the narrative? Because Kysre didn't just post a photo. She challenged an entire system that's been trying to define what acceptable femininity looks like in sports. And that's what's making this story explode. Not the pictures, but the principle. The question is, will this move empower the next generation of athletes, or will it haunt her career the next time she steps on a court? Now, let's peel back the layers, because beneath the viral photos and headline chaos, Kysre Gondrezick's decision wasn't random. It was intentional, calculated, and deeply personal. See, Kysre's story isn't just about basketball or modeling. It's about reinvention. She's 28 now, a few years removed from being a first-round pick, and she's been through the grind. From high expectations in Indiana to being waived, to bouncing around the league and overseas. Most players fade quietly after that, but not Kysre. She refused to disappear. Instead, she built a brand centered on faith, beauty, and ambition. In interviews, she doesn't talk about scandal. She talks about purpose. She literally said, "I'm following God's plan. Every opportunity, even the ones people don't understand, are part of the path He's carving for me." That's not a quote you'd expect from someone trending on Playboy's Instagram. And that's what's making this story so fascinating. She's blending two worlds people never thought could coexist: faith and sensuality. To her, this isn't a contradiction. It's evolution. It's a woman deciding she doesn't have to fit inside a box labeled athlete or role model. She's tapping into something that women across sports are quietly battling: the right to control their own narrative, to choose how they present themselves, without the world labeling it as too much or not enough. Even her photo shoot wasn't what people expected. Sure, it was provocative, but not vulgar. It was stylized, confident, powerful.
Is she shouting out God? Is that what just happened? Okay. Kyrie? I don't know. Who the hell knows? Butt naked in Playboy is what it sounds like. She signed with Athletes Unlimited, so she's playing off-season basketball. And judging by the fact that she played, let me see how many games she actually appeared in last year. 5 games. 5 games she played in, averaged 1 point.
She looked like a woman owning her body, not surrendering it. And that distinction matters. Behind the scenes, sources say Kysre's been building her media career, working with fashion brands, lifestyle companies, and even motivational platforms. This Playboy moment, it's a launch pad, not a downfall. And judging by her confidence online, she knows exactly what she's doing. Because this isn't about being Playmate of the Month. It's about proving that women in sports can expand beyond the jersey, and that femininity and professionalism aren't opposites. But here's the catch. When a move like this challenges how the world sees women athletes, it doesn't just shake up personal branding. It shakes the entire foundation of the league itself. This isn't just about Kysre Gondrezick anymore. This is about the WNBA's identity crisis. Because like it or not, her decision to pose for Playboy has forced the league and its fans to face some uncomfortable truths. For years, the WNBA has pushed one message: we are athletes first. first, powerful, competitive, resilient. They fought for fair pay, more media coverage, and the respect they deserve, especially compared to the NBA. But the truth is, this league has always struggled to balance two competing forces, femininity and legitimacy. They want to be taken seriously, but they also want players to have the freedom to express themselves as women on their own terms. And now, here comes Kysre, unapologetically blending both. A former first-round pick, now Playmate of the Month, standing in front of millions saying, "I can love God, play basketball, and pose for Playboy." That's my truth. That's not just bold, that's disruptive, because the WNBA is still building its image in a society that polices women for being confident in their own skin. People say they want athletes to be authentic, but when authenticity doesn't fit the brand, suddenly it's too much. We've seen this before. Liz Cambage got slammed for her OnlyFans. Angel Reese was mocked for her photo shoots, while male players do the same thing with sponsorship deals, and nobody blinks. The double standard couldn't be clearer. And this is what's powerful about Kysre's move. She's not waiting for permission. She's not asking the WNBA if it's okay to define herself differently. She's just doing it. For the league, it's a PR headache, sure, but it's also an opportunity to finally have the hard conversation. Can the WNBA truly support individuality even when it makes people uncomfortable? Because this controversy isn't a detour from progress. It is progress. It's the mess that comes with evolution. And whether people like it or not, Kysre Gondrezick just cracked open the conversation about what modern women's sports can look like. So here we are. The story that started as a headline about a photo shoot has turned into something way bigger, because Kysre Gondrezick didn't just strike a pose for Playboy, she struck a nerve in the entire world of women's basketball. For decades, the WNBA has been trying to convince the world that its players are more than their appearance. And yet, here's a former first-round pick standing up and saying, "I am more, not less, because I control how I'm seen." That's not rebellion, that's redefinition. See, every generation has that one player who steps outside the lines and challenges what's acceptable. For the NBA, it was Allen Iverson bringing street culture to a league obsessed with suits and silence. For women's basketball, it just might be Kysre Gondrezick, because while critics are quick to roll their eyes and call this desperate, what they're really reacting to is freedom. Freedom from the labels, freedom from the fear of being misunderstood, freedom from a system that says you can be talented but not too confident, you can be beautiful but not too bold. And let's be real, the WNBA needs conversations like this, not sanitized PR-approved headlines, but real, messy debates that make fans ask, what does empowerment actually look like? Is it wearing a jersey and dropping 30 points? Or is it owning your image, your body, and your story on your terms? Kysre seems to think it can be both, and maybe that's the evolution the league's been avoiding for too long. Whether you love it or hate it, this moment is unforgettable, because it's not just about one woman posing for a magazine. It's about women in sports finally deciding they don't need anyone's permission to be complex, strong and soft, faithful and fierce, athlete and icon. Kysre Gondrezick might not lead the league in scoring, but today she's leading the conversation. And whether the WNBA embraces her or distances itself from her, one thing's for sure, the game just changed. This is Her Hoops, and we'll keep bringing you the stories that make people talk, the truth behind the headlines, the emotion behind the game. So don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications, because the next story might just shake the league again.